I always say tariffs is the most beautiful word to me in the dictionary. Tariff or tariffs.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Why is Trump hitting his closest allies with tariffs? Why does he no longer care about crashing the stock market? Does this guy actually have a plan? Yes. Scott Bessent recently put it,
President Trump's tariff policies have begun the process of reorienting our international economic relations.
That's right, he ate it. This has really only happened twice before, once in 1944, marking the start of the Bretton Woods system, and then in the early 80s with Reagan and Thatcher marking the beginnings of the neoliberal world order. So here we are today, 2025. Is this the start of a completely new global order? A new US-centered order that will emerge right after the current chaos, in which countries are divided in three groups, or as Scott Bessent calls it,
I think we should make it very clear that there is a green, a yellow, and a red bucket, and we let everyone know where they are.
In these buckets, it will become very clear that some countries get low tariffs, military protection, and maybe even some preferred US dollar access, while others are left to fend for themselves. At least, that's the picture I got from going through all of the speeches and papers by Trump's closest economic advisors that I could find. So, let's get into it. What is this MAGA master plan for a new global order? And is this plan actually feasible, or is it just a pipe dream of a madman and his stooges? To answer, getting into the MAGA mindset and ask ourselves, what does the Trump team actually want? To answer that question, first a bit about Trump's new economic team. First, we have Scott Bessent, the new Treasury Secretary, an ultra-wealthy hedge fund manager that famously worked with George Soros himself to break the Bank of England in the early 90s, and he used to teach economic history classes at Yale. Then there's Stephen Moran, Trump's new top economic advisor, a Harvard PhD and hedge fund strategist who recently got all of Wall Street talking with his new paper, A User's Guide to Restructuring the Global Trading System. Both men have written and talked extensively about one single mortal threat to the United States: deindustrialization. So of course they were drawn to Donald Trump's campaign with its goal of
Make the United States into a manufacturing powerhouse like it used to be many years ago.
Many years ago, indeed. If we look at this chart, we can see that in the 1950s, the US used to be a manufacturing powerhouse, and manufacturing value added accounted for 28% of output. Today, that number is only 10%. Trump's first trade war did not significantly change that trajectory, though. But why is this such a big problem? America's economy is bigger than ever, right? Why does the Trump team care so much about industry? Two reasons. First, deindustrialization has devastated America's industrial heartland, which overwhelmingly voted Trump in 2024. Second, US industrial power is now far behind that of other comparable powers, especially China, putting it at a massive disadvantage in case of a war, given that historically civilian factories and know-how have been essential for rapid militarization. So, the Trump team thinks a lot about China. What happens if they invade Taiwan? Yes, the US has a stronger fleet for now, but as Vice President J.D. Vance has noted, US deindustrialization has gotten so bad that
One of Beijing's state-owned firms built more commercial ships just last year than all of America has produced since the end of World War II.
So I think in that light, that yeah, it does make sense that the Trump administration wants to re-industrialize the US. But does he really have to slap tariffs on everyone at the same time? And say stuff like this about his closest allies?
Taking our jobs, taking our wealth, taking a lot of things that they've been taking over the years. They've taken so much out of our country, friend and foe, and frankly, friend has been oftentimes much worse than foe.